Hello, everyone, and welcome to TGP1 Season 43. Tonight we are live in Singapore with just over 7 minutes to go in qualifying. We're currently watching Phil, who's just setting up a lap. Now, I'm joined by the one and only CJH. Welcome back, CJ, to the comms box.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, pleasure as always. And we've got another set of exciting races tonight. I think Singapore and Abu Dhabi is a good combo of tracks that are very different. And Singapore is obviously one of, if not the most challenging of circuits on the calendar. But we should expect plenty of overtakes later on with the race in Abu Dhabi as well. So yeah, plenty of action in store.
Well, plenty to play for at the top end of the table as Jovial Manatee Roy, the Irishman, goes quickest provisionally with a 26.9, breaking that 27 barrier finally. But the man in fourth place, Machine Ireland, who's just getting ready to go again or coming into the pits. He is leading the championship, 136 points. It's been a good season from him, showing that pacing qualifying of last season on the Sunday races this season. It's Roy, who's currently provisionally on pole, but he's second in the standings at 111. A bit of work to do for Roy to get ahead and jump up. Court Gill is on 101 in third place. New Zealand Cam with a better season this season on 70 and fourth. I believe Cam's part-time though. Kieran in fifth, with 63 points. Dom Smith close behind as well on 58, but only down in P7 is Dom Smith. He'll be wanting a bit of an improvement as Johners has just hopped up into second place.
Yeah, good lap there from Jonas, and well, it's making it a bit closer at the top three there. I mean, less than 2/10 in it, and Casper actually with a decent time there. He's needing a good pair of races tonight. He had a miserable time once again last week, so he's got a lot of pressure on, you'd have to say, to sort himself out a little bit and get some good points on the board.
Well, Calm was the defending champion last season. He wasn't able to put up much of a fight in his defence. Casper this season seems to be having the same fate, down in ninth place on only 52 points. He won the Constructors on his own last season, and he's not doing a great job this season. He's still got plenty of time, but we're on board with the Williams. Wet Lemons, a man who I've seen having a very impressive season so far this season, coming round the final corner now into the top four. A great lap for the two Williams drivers, and Wet Lemons, who's been very impressive this season. He is on the cusp of the top 10, and he's staking a claim to make that a reality in the second half of the season.
Oh, and someone who's just actually found the barrier is Arthur, who's actually been having a good season as well as Wet Lemons, but he has just spun there and hit the wall going into the second sector there. So unfortunate for him, he should have enough time to get back in the pit lane, but not what you want to do on a track like this, and he's almost lucky in some ways to have not wrote off the car there.
Yep, he'll be wanting to get back in the garage and get going again for one more lap in this qualifying session. It is on board with Court Gill now. He's coming over the Anderson Bridge now through the tight left-hander, using all the track on the exit he possibly can in the Mercedes. He's in third place in the championship. He's down in fifth here in Singapore's qualifying. He'll be wanting an improvement. He is improving to try and challenge the likes of Casper and Wet Lemons on the second row of the grid. It doesn't quite seem enough at the moment to be challenging Roy for provisional pole, but if there is a man on the grid that can do it, it is the Dutchman. Court number 5 coming now through the only part in sector 3 that is the old circuit now. Double left-hander like Lewis Hamilton took back in 28. Is it going to be enough for pole position? No, it's not even enough to move up the order, but it is an improvement on time. And I think now Aidan Griffiths is the only man, or is the closest man to starting a lap.
Yeah, it's like you say, Court gained a lot of time there, but it just shows how close it is at the top there. He just wasn't able to break into that top two rows. But there is Aidan then starting one of his final few laps here. Obviously, he'll have plenty of time if he wants to go for another run, but it just depends how much fuel he's got in the car. But really attacking those first couple of corners there, you need to just carry as much speed as you can through that part of the circuit. And then once you get past this little tricky left-hander here, it's very easy to clip the wall on the outside. It's fairly straightforward for the rest of this first sector. But we'll see what Aidan does in this first sector, and see that he's already 2.5 tenths up. So he might find some places here.
Yep, Aidan looking for a top 5 finish here in Singapore qualifying. It's looked pretty smooth through the right-hander there at the beginning of Sector 2 now. The swooping left-hander, you just want to use all the track but avoid the walls on the right-hand side, and Aidan does that beautifully now. The double left-hander, the very late left-hander just swooped the car through, and late on the brakes here now, crossing the Anderson Bridge. The McLaren driver not been here this season as much as he'd like, but he's starting to find that form again. He's round about the Lewis Craigs, the Dom Smiths in pace again. A bit more practice on the game and a bit more free time is allowing him to close that gap, and he's improving by 6/10 of a second here. Aiden is rising to the challenge. It's 10th at the moment, and he could be looking at a second row start, which would be wonderful for Aiden and his McLaren team in terms of the constructors and his hopes of getting a top 10 finish in the Drivers' Championship. And he is very close to that. It's looked very smooth from Aiden. He'll take the double left-hander. It looks a lot smoother than Court's lap, and it is only going to be P7. He lost a bit of time in that final sector, did Aiden, so maybe the downforce on the car allowing him to get through the second sector more smoothly, costing him a bit of time down the back straight in the final sector.
Yeah, he set purple middle sector, which really kind of caught me by surprise, to be honest. I wasn't expecting that. But like you say, Jack, just unfortunately unable to keep the pace for the rest of the lap as Casper runs a bit wide there, but he is as well. Purple in the first sector, a 10th up at the minute. And this is it, Jack. This is going to be the final runs here.
Well, this is it for Casper in the Scuderia. His final opportunity at sticking it on pole position. He did set a purple Sector 1, but he was very wide coming out of the final corner of Sector 1. Now we'll see what his split time is over the Anderson Bridge, and it's looking pretty smooth here from Casper through the second sector after his wee moment at the end of Sector 1. The McLaren of Aidan Griffiths moves out the way, and this for Casper looking like a lap of last season. It's only 3/10, but that 3/10 at the moment is enough to stick him on provisional pole with Roy and Johners still to go. They're on their outlaps. We'll see what they can do later on in the session, but it's all about the finish, man. It's all about the reigning and defending champion. He doesn't look like he's going to be able to defend his championship this season, but we'll see what his time is as he comes up to the line. It's third at the moment. What will it be for ERT Casper? It is currently provisional pole just at the moment. We imagine Roy, Johners and the likes of Machine Ireland are going to have an opportunity to beat this later on.
Well, Court's mucked up his lap there. Unless he's got enough fuel in the car, he absolutely wasted any opportunity there of finding any more time. So it's all eyes to see who is closest to the line here. In terms of challenging those top spots. Dom Smith is actually the next to come up to the line. We'll see what he can do in that Mercedes. Can he move up the order? Yes, he does, up to 8th place, only getting a 10th though. But this is it. Can anybody beat that lap from Casper?
Well, Machine Ireland 2.5 tenths up in the second sector. It's looking like a good lap from your championship leader. Aidan Griffiths has called it a day in 7th. He didn't have time for a new lap, and actually Machine Ireland's ran into a bit of traffic on the final straight there. Maybe a bit of tow. It may have actually helped the Red Bull driver. 136 points in the championship. He's leading the championship. Will he be on provisional pole for the Singapore Grand Prix? No, it's only third place. And Wet Lemons has missed his lap time. He's not out quick enough. He is out of this session. Dan Morris, Dom Smith got pipped by Dan Morris there at the end. We just missed it. Mr. Giappelli passed Lewis Craig for 12th. And who is going to be next across the line? Viva La Merkel has hopped up into P4. Roy isn't improved. And it's going to be Phil.
Here he comes. He looks good on this lap, and he moves up to 4th. Onto the second row there. Not bad at all. And Jean has actually gone purple, I believe, in the middle sector, Jack.
Yep, Jean's absolutely flying at the moment, but we've seen the boys that have been really good in Sector 2 have struggled in the third sector, and it's not looked great for Jean in the third sector. We'll see if it's enough for pole position, though it is. He's the only driver in the 26.8s, and Jean is on pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix with no one left to go. He stole it from Casper at the death, and Roy will not be happy mucking up his final run. It looked like good in Sector 1, but he cost himself time and just called it a day. But it's Johners on pole for Singapore. We've got 16 laps to go, and well, we're in for an entertaining Grand Prix in the next moments.
Well, that's the thing. He showed good pace last week in Bahrain, but the very, very last lap there, and he made it count. And it's good to see, though, Jack, all the gaps are very close at the top, especially on a circuit like this where there's so many places that you can lose time. But look at that. Your top 8 there, all separated by only 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, Joner's on pole position for the Singaporean Grand Prix. Casper on the front row with him. It is an all-Irish second row with Joe Vimani and Machine Ireland. Phil Bardwell in fifth, Viva La Merkel in sixth. Wet Lemons with an impressive seventh place, but didn't have the opportunity to improve at the end. Well, Alpine not getting it, Williams not getting it quick enough. Court Gill in eighth, Aidan Griffins in ninth, and Arthur rounds out your top 10 in qualifying. And well, Phil Barswell won in Bahrain for the second season in a row. He's in fifth place. Can Phil make it two in a row this week?
Well, this is the thing, and I think it's going to be a race of patience. I say it so many times here in TGP, but this circuit, it really is. It is such a track of just biding your time, keeping the pace high, obviously, but if you do just hit that barrier and get front wing damage, it will just ruin your race. And if you hit it hard enough, then you will be fully out. But it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. With the field so close, it could come down to strategy or all sorts of other factors. I mean, it is easier to overtake here since they've changed the layout of the circuit, but I think we do have a bit of an intriguing race ahead of us here.
Well, it is known for the alternate strategy. Drivers do like to go mediums to softs around here. A few of the grid in TG1 do somehow like the hard tyre running. Not done much of it myself at Singapore, but it is a track where the tyres do tend to go off quickly, so we may see the hard compound coming out at the beginning or later on in the Grand Prix. But there's a bit of time before we get going. We're on the grid now. It's going to be Johners and Casper fighting each other off the line. It's 5 red lights and we're underway, and it's looked like a good start from Casper. We'll go on board with the Ferrari driver, but the second phase has not been that great on the medium tyre, so Johners leads into turn one. The Red Bull and Machine Ireland's made up a place and trying to attack, and now Viva La Merkel and Wet Lemons are battling side by side on the exit of turn number 3, and it looks like Viva La Merkel round the outside should get that move done. Wet Lemons is not going to give it up without a fight, though the cars are still side by side in the Williams, with the Haas in the background and wanting a piece of the action as well. We'll see up front on board, there's no one quite making a move at the front, and the Arthur in the Haas down the inside of Wet Lemons, getting a wee bit of damage there on the end plate. It looks like costing himself a bit of time. It might be that the front wing's okay, and we've had a bit of action at the back. It looks like Chris Johnson's fallen down the order.
Yeah, Chris Johnson, I think, has found the barrier somewhere. But Arthur, they're just getting a little bit too ambitious on those soft tyres. A lot of other drivers around him on the mediums and maybe going for the softs later on. But Arthur had a decent start, but just got way too ambitious there. Trying to make the lunge, also has another little think about it there. But we'll have to just settle himself down and try again. But a good start for Jean, though, out front at the minute.
Yeah, Jean, do what he needs to do. Try and break that DRS before we get going for the second lap. Arthur on the soft compounds. He needs to make the tyres work while he can. The top two have already broken the 1 second gap to Jovial Mani in third. We'll see if that sticks as the DRS enables at the end of this lap. And Casper is keeping Johners honest. Johners running off the track a wee bit, maybe feeling the pressure of the former champion behind. And we'll see if Casper can make a move with the DRS on the first sector, on the first straight. The DRS very powerful in this game. It has been for many games. We'll see, and if in 2026 when the DRS does eventually go, if it still isn't easy to make the overtakes on the back straight. Johners now, this is his first chance at being practically defenceless down the straight, and you can see the closing on the Ferrari, but Johners looks like he's got enough in the tank to stay ahead at the moment.
Yeah, Casper was ultra close there, but that is not really a great overtaking spot. It's very risky. If you do want to shove it down the inside, he'll wait maybe a little bit later in the lap for a good old run at the Williams. But he can't wait too long, because if Jonas gets a bit of momentum going here and builds that gap up, then he'll have a little bit more breathing room. But this is all Casper needs to do at the minute, is just keep the pressure on the leader and potentially force him into a mistake here.
Well, keep the pressure on, keep Jean looking in his wing mirrors behind and seeing the action. We've had a bit of a lock-up from Wet Lemons there out of the Anderson Bridge. We'll see if that gives Arthur an opportunity to make the move, and it's not quite, but it will set him up pretty nice for the back straight, and with a bit of DRS will he be able to make the move. Casper closing the gap, but it's only 3 attempts and not somewhere that he's going to be able to make the move just at the moment. Someone's picked up a time penalty. Darky picked up a time penalty. And just a quick shout out to Jake. He's down in 15th in the Aston. Believe it's his debut in TGP1. We'll keep an eye on him to see what results he can follow up. And everyone's setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Machine Ireland looking to come into his own now. He's got a bit of pace and he's caught back up to the back of Jovial Mani.
Well, we may see a similar thing that we've seen before, where they're maybe managing their pace a little bit. Jean is out front. He might need. We have seen people such as Carlos Sainz in real life actually win this race by not necessarily going as fast as possible all the way throughout. It's just managing the car behind us. Casper's going to get very close again here. Has a little think about the inside, but once again sits back there, Jack, and thinks better of making that move down the inside.
Yeah, and another lockup from Wet Lemons. But yeah, maybe the drivers, you're right, just conserving their pace, not going all out at this phase of the Grand Prix. As we mentioned before the Grand Prix started, the tyre wear around Singapore is very, very difficult to manage, kind of like Bahrain last Tuesday. Maybe the drivers just thinking we need to get the softs to go at least 5-6 laps at the end of this Grand Prix, so we need the mediums to get over half race distance. And the guys just thinking that this is the time to save the tyres when the fuel load is a lot heavier. But Johners is keeping Casper honest. It is about 3 tenths the gap. Casper's getting close on the straights, but then Johners through that second sector is able to escape again.
I just think the fact that, the top 9 are all absolutely nose to tail at the minute, it just strikes to me that there's a little bit of management at play here. And Casper has got close a few times now. I mean, I do wonder how much closer he needs to be to think about having a little go down the inside, but he's not going to be close enough down this straight at the minute, and he's going to have Roy right on his tail very shortly if he's not careful. But at the minute, they're all playing it fairly calm and steady, and it looks like we're going to get a bit of a chess battle that we've seen so many times before here in TGP, where they're trying to pick their right moment here.
Well, it's got that Spain in last season's game kind of esque vibe. But here comes Casper down the inside, and John just managing to hold it round the outside. It was beautiful car placement from the Williams to hold on to the lead of the Grand Prix, and that closes up the top 5, 6, and 7. So it could be that when Casper believes that opportunity for that move is going to stick, that's when he goes for it. Doesn't want to force anything and cost himself a chance at good points, especially being the 9th in the championship. So maybe Casper just biding his time, and you see the blinking lights on the Williams ahead. He's saving that battery, harvesting the battery to defend. And well, maybe once we get one overtake, that's when we'll see the domino effect of everyone starting to make moves.
It's close.
But the battle is a lot closer, and it's going to be defensive manoeuvres from Jeaners, and he's going to force him wide, and that is beautiful again from Jean to defend, but he's in danger now. He's had a bad run out of that corner, and Casper now going to force the Williams to go defensive. We're on board with the Scuderia, and it's not enough to make a move there. And just the kind of the design of that corner doesn't really allow you to make a move there unless you're in side by side before the corner even begins. And now Jean has had a mistake out the final corner, and that should allow Casper to take the lead of the Grand Prix, and it has. Jean, the mistake has finally come on lap number 5. Casper there showing his class of champion to get the move done, force Jean into a mistake, and now Jean is the one doing the attacking.
Well, this is the thing. This is what we're saying. It's a bit of a patience kind of race at the minute in terms of just waiting for the driver in front of you to make that mistake. But at the end of the day, Jonas is still with Casper here. So, like you say, Jack, it's roles reversed, and the Williams will now be putting the pressure back on the Ferrari. We did see a move actually. Got ahead of Arthur, meanwhile in the background towards the end of that last lap. But you're right. It's like another Spain, a very different circuit to Spain. But they're all kind of just sitting there at the minute, just waiting for the right moment. And I think we're going to need pit stops later to break up this gaggle of cars at the minute.
Well, that tends to happen in the TGP1 races that we've watched over the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's that first stint, everyone's just so similarly paced matched. Everyone seems to have the same strategy at the beginning. It's just that when are they going to stop moment kind of spreads the field up, and then we get that 2 or 3 car battles later on in the race. We'll see though, Viva La Merkel is having to be very defensive to Wet Lemons behind. Wet Lemons very impressive this season, seems to have found the pace and the formula on this game. Can he close the gap? He's forcing Viva La Merkel into lockup, so maybe Viva La Merkel feeling the pressure. His teammate down in 13th has just made a move on Dan Morris. Can Dan Morris get back ahead of Matt Tibbles later in the race? We'll keep an eye out for that. And the first of the pit stops is happening because Haas have called in Arthur into the pits.
Yeah, it makes sense. Those soft tyres, they just do not last long at all around this circuit. But Arthur might be one to watch at the last stages of this one, because he will get a nice undercut now, which we know is quite powerful around the circuit, because these guys are going to come in for a good few laps. But as we come down this DRS straight once more, no overtakes at the minute, although that looked like a Ferrari going a little bit wide there. It was, I think, Casper getting a little bit too late on the brakes, but he has great traction out the corner, actually. Just builds that gap up. You can just see they're almost getting up to 7/10 of a second. But whilst they're right there, Jack, I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon because they're just going to have DRS each straight.
Yeah, they're just going to close the gap. Casper has lovely traction out of the corners, but yeah, he's had that incident in qualifying where he went off the track. He was slow enough to avoid invalidation, but there it was a lot worse. He went a lot further off, and Court Gill is now past Wet Lemons. Wet Lemons didn't make that too difficult, knows his battles in this Grand Prix. No point wasting any time, just let Court go, and maybe Court getting past Viva America will allow Wet Lemons to maybe get past as well.
Well, Court's slowly making his way up the order here. I mean, there's still plenty of time left in this race, and he's now up into 7th and right on the exact same strategy as all these lots, so he could be one to watch. But look at John Manatee here, really close to Jonas at that final corner. He's not quite close enough yet, and the problem is here, they've all got DRS on each other, so it's going to be extra difficult to try and make that overtake. But at the minute, Jonas, he's just about hanging on, really, at the minute. He's not really putting too much pressure on Casper at this moment in time.
Well, podium pace and race-winning pace are a lot different. Giovinazzi has proven in the past that he has that race-winner pace, not quite close enough there, but these straights aren't really long enough to make a pass. Just pure speed. You kind of need someone to make a mistake, as Dom Smith is passing. Look around the outside of that corner, has to go off the circuit. Will the marksman need to give that one up to his fellow marksman? We'll wait and see, and it looks like Dom going defensive again to hold on to the position. So look, I may not be happy with that one come the end of the Grand Prix, but Dom very late on the brakes to make the move and try now to close the gap. He's 5.3 seconds, so yeah, Dom, that poor qualifying has cost him a real chance at great points, unless there's a mistake later on in the race from somebody else, because he's got such a big gap to climb now to these guys. He is on the hard tyres though, so he should get a very good soft stint come the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, there is just that big gap between the two packs at the minute, but Casper really pushing hard on this lap. He's really going for it. Got that gap up to 8/10 there, and there is someone coming in the pits. That's Jonas then coming in the pits. Gets a little bit wide actually. He's over the white line. He's lucky not to get a penalty for that there, but he's pulled the trigger then and coming in the pits, and he's had enough of those mediums.
Yep, we'll see. It's definitely going to be hard compounded tyres for the Williams driver that we commented on earlier in the race. We'll see the stop from the boys. It's looking lovely. Williams very quick there, getting Jean on the undercut, and now Jean going to have to defend the likes of Casper and Giovinazzi in the back. And maybe Casper had an inkling that Jean was going to pit there, because Casper did go very quick on that final lap before Jean's pit, and that has allowed him to break the DRS to Giovinazzi behind, and maybe Roy going to be under pressure from the Red Bull now, not having that DRS to defend with.
Well, I think that's the thing. It was obviously the combination of the two, because Jonas must have been starting to struggle a little bit on them tyres. But you could just see Casper just there, even on this lap, absolutely running it right up against the barrier there and absolutely risking it, because he knows that that undercut is powerful and he's going to have to absolutely get his foot down. He's managed to break the DRS to Giovinazzi here, and this could be critical for Casper if he can get a good lap here, dive in the pit lane and come out ahead still of Jonas, then this could be a race-winning lap here. I don't want to get too far ahead as we have a yellow flag, and that's Lewis Craig out.
Lewis Craig in the wall in the middle of the track. The Aiden had to take avoiding action. Viva La Merkel and Court Gill are side by side, and Court Gill has made his way up, and there is the race leader in the Ferrari coming into the pits now. The only driver in the top 5 to stop. But yeah, Court Gill, very impressive pace. He's made a lot of overtakes since the beginning of this, so that poor qualifying may cost him a chance at the win, and he'd be very disappointed because he's had fantastic pace. But talking about fantastic pace, the championship leader is right behind Giovinazzi. The gap is 3/10 of a second. We're on board with the Red Bull, the only Red Bull in the race at the moment after Lewis Craig's DNF. Giovinazzi making a wee bit of a defensive move, hangs on to the position for now, and Phil Bardwell, he's slowly creeping up to these guys, isn't he, with Court Gill 1.7 behind, and Jeaners did get a back ahead of Casper, 4/10 the gap. Casper now, that good lap has put him in prime position to make the move, will go on board as Mr. Giapelli's overtaken Matt Tibos in the background as well. And look, Jean's got absolutely nothing to defend, but Jean's going to have to go very deep. They make a wee bit of contact, and Casper now down the inside of the right-hander should get the move. Dan Jean did everything he could to defend, but Casper now back up into a provisional P1. He's in P10, but after the pit stop should allow him to come back out in front. And maybe now the guys at the top are thinking, do we stay out and go on the softs and try to get that tyre advantage at the end of the Grand Prix?
Well, I tell you, that was a critical move there from Casper, because he did, like you say, Jack, get caught behind Jonas, but he had to get that move done there and then. He would have lost way too much time as Matt Tibos and Miss Giapelli going wheel to wheel in the final couple of corners here. But Casper now on those soft tires, he absolutely has to make this work, because they are going to fall off a cliff. He's got a long way to go, as crazy as it sounds, on those soft tires, because they only usually last about 5 laps. So he may struggle in these latter stages, but it's going to be fascinating to see how he plays out against the hards of Jonas here.
Well, Arthur went about 6 laps before stopping on his soft tyres. Casper's going to have to do 2 extra. Is that going to cost him pace come the end of the Grand Prix? We will see. We've got Luca chasing Matt Tibos for the net lead of the lead of the Grand Prix before pit stops, and he's made that move beautifully. The man that won a couple of Grand Prix in TTP2 in the season previous, showing he's still got the class action to battle. Former TTP1 champions Luca up into the lead of the Grand Prix for the moment. Sean closed the gap on Casper, not quite close enough to make the move though.
I tell you, Phil Bargewell there was getting the elbows down. Oh, and there's going to be contact there, surely, between the Williams of Wet Lemons and Arthur. Wet Lemons trying to find a gap that wasn't there, and there's even more contact behind, because Viva La Merca almost found the barrier as well. But Phil Bargewell really holding off the Alpine, you'd have to say, just slamming the door shut, trying to keep hold of that position, and it got the job done. But Viva La Merca is really out of sorts now as Dom moves up into 12th. But I do think, Jack, if Jonas can stay with Casper here, I think this is very much in his favour in these closing stages. I think those softs will go off when those hard tyres, they should be fresh all the way to the finish here.
Yeah, Jean should be in prime position come the end of the Grand Prix. He's just got to stay in that DRS, as everyone in the top 3 has boxed, allowing these guys to get complete clear track ahead. So it's Casper from Jean, from Jovial Manny, from Machine Ireland, it will be Phil Bargewell when everyone's stopped. There is your top 5. Court Gill getting past Viva La Merca there, getting close to the back of Arthur. Court may be one of the challenging pack that can close this gap. But yeah, that is your top 5 after the pit stops. Casper on the softs, got a long way to go. Jean on the hards. Jovial Manny and Machine Ireland both on the softs as well. They're going to have better rubber than Casper. So Casper going to have to do a lot of defensive work unless he can put in the time in the graph now and get that gap enough where it won't matter. But he doesn't want to ruin those softs. He needs to keep life in the tyre to defend come lap 14, 15 and 16.
Yes, and obviously, like we were saying earlier about these pit stops breaking up the field, and it has done that. We've got a 4-way fight then for the win between Casper, Jean, Giovanni, and Machine Island, and then the rest are all kind of in their own little battle now. Phil Bargewell has a bit of no man's land at the minute, but Arthur is holding up a bunch of cars behind him that are on the soft tyres. So there's plenty of battles to keep an eye on in these closing stages. But at the minute, Jonas is doing all he needs to do and should be in a good position in a few laps.
Well, Court Gill was going around the outside of Arthur there. Arthur braked very late in the corner, and that might have cost Court a bit of damage. We're on board with the Mercedes driver. He tries to brake later than the Haas. It wasn't able to do so, and he's absolutely getting held up. A treat here for Phil. They've lost 2 seconds that lap, but we're going to go to the front now. The top 2 are getting closed in by 3rd and 4th on the fresh softs. This is great opportunity for Jovial Manny and Machine Ireland to pick up a victory here if they can get past Jean and Casper. It's all Jean though at the front. He's closing that gap. Is he going to have enough road to make the move? He's looking down the inside, but no, he does not. Casper holds on for another lap. And well, I've come back this week and no rest for the wicked. It's a four-way battle for the win here with 5 laps to go. It's never easy in TGP1, as Court Gill is finding out right now as he's going round the outside of Arthur. It's never
Oh,
easy, but he gets the move done finally. He's up into P6. He's 6 seconds back now, and I think Court will just be happy he's got no one ahead of him anymore.
yeah, I was about to say, if Arthur chucked that back down the inside, that was always going to end in tears. But that is what you get with Arthur. He will not give it up, no matter what. And Viva La Merco is the next one that's going to get a bit frustrated behind him, unless he can get past him very shortly.
Both Hasses seems to be like that, Professor and Arthur. And speaking of Viva La Merkel, he's actually getting past, not doing the passing. Dom Smith is up into P8 now. Is he going to be able to hang it down the inside? No, Viva La Merkel's hanging it around the outside. He's got both of them. He's caught Arthur napping her. Oh, that's a massive crash, and Arthur's out of the Grand Prix, and I think Viva La Merkel didn't really give him the space there. They made contact, and that's cost Arthur a chance at points. Dom Smith has gotten past them both unscathed, and that might be one that's reviewed after the Grand Prix. We won't say much, but it didn't look great for Arthur. Dom Smith, maybe a bit of damage. He's gotten passed by Dan Morris. Matt Tibbles has picked up a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags he must have overtaken.
For the lead.
Under those, and there goes Jeaners down the inside. He's forced Casper off the racetrack, and Jovial Mani going to try and make a move. Is he round the outside? Not enough road or grip in the softs at the moment. And well, it looked like Casper either had that issue that he's had all race when he's gone deep, or Jeaners forced him off the road. We'll see. Has Casper got enough softs to get back ahead?
It was punchy from Jeaners there. It was legal. I don't think there was anything wrong with it, but it was definitely aggressive, and he was coming through no matter what there. Absolutely committing to the late breaking move there. But let's just see then. Now Casper has the DRS on Jean in these final few laps. That might just level this one out, because we've seen before the leader just can't quite get away in this one. So this could be a little bit of chopping and changing in these final few laps here.
Well, we might see Jean and Casper doing a Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris just stopping the two faster cars on the softs behind them. It's not the Mercedes chasing, it's Jovial Mani and Machine Ireland. They're not interested in this battle ahead of them between Casper and Jean. They both want to pick up the victory themselves. Jovial Mani, over the last season and a half, has proved himself as the man that picks up the pieces when stuff goes down. Will something go down between Jean and Casper that allows Jovial Mani to pick up the victory here? We're going to see. The gap is 5 tenths in raising. It looks like Jovial Mani might be the one that's making the move this lap. Not quite got enough speed, as the DRS in the car ahead just allows Casper to hold on to P2. And in these final 3 laps, we might be seeing that this is a similar situation to 2023, where the 2 guys in 3rd and 4th are probably quicker than 1st and 2nd, can't make the move because of the DRS.
I think Casper's really struggling with tyres now. You can just see coming out of some of these corners, the rear end on that Ferrari is really starting to slide out, and he's just getting that little bit closer to the barriers. He might be able to just drive through it, but you can just see, even through that hairpin there, there's an almighty amount of understeer on that car. So let's see, can he just find a way to drive through it and just muster up some pace in these final couple of laps here and have a little go at Jeaners, because it might be too late. If he can't get near that Williams, then the opportunity will be gone. But he's going to have a few more laps to do it, but he's going to have to get a move on if he's going to get into the lead of this one.
Well, we're on board with a Red Bull in 4th place. We can see all 3 cars ahead, and you just think the longer this goes on, the less time Casper's got to make this move and make it stick. He's closing the gap now on the start-finish straight. We'll see how close he is at turn number 5. But yeah, Jean just doing what he needs to do. We're on the penultimate lap of the Singaporean Grand Prix. It's Jean from Casper, from Jovial Mani, from Machine Ireland. That is your top 4, and all 4 have a wonderful opportunity to win this Grand Prix. Casper on the softs. He's been on them since lap number 8. He's closing the gap to Jean, but the traction that he had in the first stint has faded away in the second stint. It just doesn't look like he's got the speed coming out of the corners to make that move. Machine Ireland's had a few tank slappers coming out of the corners as well, and that's not allowing him to make a move on Roy. And Roy really this time around needs to get past Casper if he's going to win this Grand Prix.
I don't know why. I mean, it's not for me to question Casper. He's won far more races than I have, but I don't know why Casper wasn't using the ERS there. He had a full battery, had a good old run at the Williams, and had DRS as well. He should have absolutely emptied the tank just to get ahead of the Williams, because at this rate, with that gap coming onto these straights, it's not close enough. He's going to have to absolutely hang on to the gearbox of that car in these final next corners if he wants any chance of having another go. But I just fear for him that was the chance, though. He should have gone for it there and then. I hope I'm wrong, and he might be close enough. He's having a good final end to the lap here, and we're about to go on the final lap, and we'll see. Can Casper have a little go at the Williams?
Well, he's got 75% ERS in the Ferrari. This is his best opportunity. It's the final lap of the Grand Prix has begun now. It's Jean and Casper. They've been battling all throughout this Grand Prix. All 16 laps have been an intense, heated battle. Will it be the defending champion Casper that picks up the victory, or will Jean finally get that long-awaited victory? This is one of two overtaking opportunities, unless Shawners makes a mistake. He's closing that gap. He's using the ERS. Shawners doesn't go defensive, but Casper has not got enough in the tank. He's got one more opportunity now. It looks like third and fourth has lost the opportunity to pick up the win, barring anything significant happening later on in the lap. But now you'd imagine there's only one real overtaking opportunity for Casper, the season 42 champion. He was so dominant in the beginning of last season. He's not had that pace or that form this time around. We know what he can do. He just doesn't seem to have the grip coming over the bridge to close the gap like he needs to. It's 5 tenths the gap now. He's gone very deep into that corner, and it looks like it's fading away and heading towards Jean in the Williams garage, picking up the victory. He's closing up the gap. He uses a bit of the battery. He'll have no DRS on the straight. Now, this is it, the final chance. He's so far back, and it looks like not making that move on lap 15 is going to cost him the chance at the win. And he's running out of corners here. He's going to see the fireworks go off, but it's not going to be for Casper. It's going to be for Jean in the Williams, finally picking up that long-deserved victory. Jean wins in Singapore, followed by Casper. Jovial Mani hangs on to the podium, and Machine Arlen finishes in fourth. Phil Bargeville comes home in fifth place. Court Gill finishes in sixth. Dan Morris, a late bloomer in that Grand Prix, coming home in seventh. Dom Smith comes home in eighth. Matt Tibbles is going to be replaced by Mr. Giapelli in ninth. He's going to hang on to P10 with that 10-second time penalty. There's going to be Aiden from Jake. Aiden actually gets ahead of Jake. Jake finishing 11th on debut in TGP1. Congratulations to Jake, picking up 4 solid points. Sorry. Matt Tibos, that 10-second time penalty has cost him places. He's down in 12th. Viva La Miracle, he had a good start to the race, but he's dropped down the order. He's finished 30th. And Chris Johnson, after the lap 1 incident, did manage to pick up a point for Cyber. Wet Lemons, disappointing for him. He had a good beginning of the Grand Prix, but a bit of incidents on lap 11 has cost him a chance at solid points. And Nevo Darky, I think his name is, he's finished in P16. Arthur and Lewis Craig didn't finish the Grand Prix. And well, it's not like TGP1 to give us an easy race to commentate over. That was fantastic from start to finish. We didn't know who was going to pick up the win there on the last lap. We never seem to know who's going to pick up the victory on the last lap of the races, but Jean did enough. He did the early stop. He went onto the hard tyres, and just like we've mentioned in previous races, CJH, sometimes that hard tyre is the tyre to be on. We don't think it as drivers, we don't think it as commentators, but sometimes that hard tyre just seems to be a good race tyre on this game. And well, the hard tyres has won out here over the softs, and Jean did exactly what he needed to do, and congratulations to the old timer in TGP1 finally picking up 25 points. I think he's waited a long time for that. Jake picked up driver of the day in his first ever race. It was great to see Jake score some solid points. He's a TGP2 driver picking up solid points in TGP1 on his debut, so congratulations to Jake. But we're going to see the Williams on the top step of the podium, which is a nice change to see Jean back on the top step, and we'll see if he can replicate that as we head to Abu Dhabi. One shot qualifying and a 35% race coming up in the next few moments.
Yeah, a great drive from Jean there. You have to say, picked the right strategy and had the tyres at the end there. I do feel that those soft tyres were not the way to go at the end, because it just didn't quite have enough grip. And I stand by it. I think Casper's chance was on that penultimate lap, but he just couldn't quite find enough pace at the end there. But he's still got a second place, and it's much better than some of the recent results that he's had this season. So maybe a return to form for Casper. But a good race though. I mean, it was a bit of a tense one, a bit of a slow burner, but I enjoyed the final stage of that.
Well, fantastic Grand Prix again from the drivers. Would have been interesting to see what Court could have done if he didn't have that poor qualifying as well. He did finish in sixth, but caught up in that mid-pack action, and that's what the poor qualifying does. If you don't get on that front row or the second row, you get caught up in the mid-pack, and you just get swallowed up. But yeah, Lewis Craig, we've seen the onboard incident from the Red Bull driver. He barely even touched the wall, and he took his whole
Mm.
front left tyre off. So Lewis Craig needs to avoid walls. Shouldn't be too much in the way of walls in Abu Dhabi. We have seen some crashes around this track in Formula One, but shouldn't be too crazy. We should have plenty of drivers finishing this Grand Prix. But yeah, 18 drivers. Good to see the attendance up there in the high teens as usual. Obviously, in TGP1 you only get 2 reserves through the week, so if there is more people out than the 2 reserves, we're just going to go with what we've got, and I believe that's a good rule. Not too many new guys coming in every week. It's good to get the likes of Jake and stuff, TGP2 drivers getting that opportunity in the top league, and it's good to see Chris Johnson and Luca as well. Luca picking up some solid points there and battling former TGP1 champion Matt Tibbles. It's good to see these guys that wouldn't normally be up in the high region of points and TGP and getting that opportunity to do so. But yeah, Wet Lemon, someone that'll be disappointed, CJ, with that
Mm.
result. He's had some good pace over the last few weeks, hasn't he, in TGP1? Is he someone that just needs to kind of find that form in the race, kind of get rid of those mistakes, find some consistency? He could be a top 5 challenger in the next half of the season if he can get that consistency right.
Well, this is the thing, and he had such a good start to the season. He had that second place in Zandvoort, but the last few races, I mean, he's only scored 3 points in his last 5 races now, and DNF'd in 2 of them. So it's not going too well in recent times. And like you say, Jack, he just needs to get a bit of consistency on the board because the pace is, potentially there, you'd have to say, but he just needs to bring it all together and start getting some points on the board because he's right down, before even tonight, he was right down in 14th place in the standings and has plenty of work to do in terms of moving himself back up the order. But what I am interested in, Jack, is that Giovanni there quite quietly has just took a few points away from Machine Island in that standings battle. It was 25 points before that race, and it's going to come down a tiny bit. But I do think that battle is quite interesting between those two because Machine Island clearly has the outright pace, but you've got the two different types of drivers against each other. There of Giovanni being the real consistent driver and always there to pick up the pieces. So, what's your thoughts on the potential battle for the title between those two? Because obviously, Court dropping quite a few more points there, you could say it's looking a little bit more unlikely for him now.
Well, we're getting towards that halfway stage in the season between the All-Irish and battle for the championship. Obviously, Machine Ireland picked up the fastest lap in the last race, but helped him out as well. Machine Ireland, he's one of those drivers. He's got the pace, doesn't he? We know he's got that pace. He's picked up
Mm.
wins against great drivers, and he could have won the championship a few years ago in F1 2019. He was unlucky. A few incidents probably out of his control cost him the chance of picking up the title. But yeah, Machine Ireland, it's just one of those. We've said it over the time. He's got great qualifying pace, but he's just not consistent in the races over the last few seasons. This season, that form has kind of changed. And well, we said this. Casper in his debut season didn't have that consistency, but had race-winning pace. The next season was able to get the championship wrapped up. Cam didn't have that consistency, got the consistency, won the championship. Machine Ireland might be the next driver on that list that doesn't have the consistency, but has that pace. Finally gets over the hump, gets that season where he's just consistent, avoids the incidents and can get over the line. Jovial Manti, obviously a long-time TGP1 driver, we know what he can do. It's going to be tough for Machine Ireland, but he's got to keep the form that he's had this season ongoing. And we're going to go on board with the Red Bull driver when we find him on his qualifying lap. We'll put the pressure on the championship leader and see what he can come up with. We'll believe that he can deliver the goods in the Red Bull. We'll see, though. We're on board with the Red Bull now. Coming up into turn number 1, late on the brakes. Use the curb on the right-hand side as much as you possibly can on the white line. Use the curb on the left now. And now over the swooping right-hander. Now down the hill towards the famous Max Verstappen championship winning corner where he did it in that car, picked up the championship. Machine Ireland not thinking about the championship on this lap, he's just thinking about sticking in on pole position. It's not been the quickest of laps. He's down in 6th now on the back straight, using the battery, using the DRS, saving the bit of the battery now down that back straight. He'll brake as late as he possibly can for the chicane. He's going to go left and right. He'll see how bumpy it is for the car. The car just wants to spin out here, but you get down on the throttle as quick as you can. Use the traction that Red Bull provides, and use as much track as you possibly can. Take the quickest line now to the swooping left-hander where Lewis made that lovely move on George in 2024, and it's just beautiful taking that corner in the cockpit. And Machine Iron is looking like a good lap. It might not be a pole lap, but it's looking like a very quick lap now into the hotel section. He's climbing up the order now into P4 in the second row for the second time tonight, through the Latifi corner where we'll not talk about that too much, but now through the last double right-hander. Machine Iron is looking good. He might just sneak up onto pole position here. Casper is leading the way. It's going to be Casper on pole. Machine Ireland does manage to get onto the front row of the grid, and I believe it was Court Gill picking up further at the end.
Well, looks like Casper has reawoken his form from last season, because he looks a different driver tonight, and a great pole there. Only 10th clear, the whole top four has only got just about a 10th in it, and it's the usual suspects up there. So looks like we're all set for another great race here. But I thought for a minute there Court was going to make it back-to-back poles at this circuit. Obviously did that at the final race last season, but just unable to replicate that. But what a great lap that was from Casper.
Well, Casper on pole, Machine Iron on the front row in second, Court Gill and Joe Manny third and fourth, Jean and Phil fifth and sixth, Matt Tibbles and Wet Lemons picking up seventh and eighth, Viva La Merkel in ninth, and Dan Morris rounds out your top 10 in Abu Dhabi qualifying. We have got a 35% race coming your way. We have got safety cars. We've got plenty of time for this race to be enthralling, just like they have been in the previous years at TGP1. But it's going to be ERT Casper leading the way on the grid. He's got Machine Ireland on the front row for company, and with plenty of racing laps coming your way, this could be a battle just like it was in Singapore till the end, the final laps. We've seen safety cars being called out in this Grand Prix in TGP1 in the past. We've seen some different strategies being thrown up. Will someone do a Jean and pick the hard tyres? We're going to get underway shortly, and well, if anyone tells you they know what's going to happen, I'm telling you right now, they are absolutely wrong before we start this race.
I tell you, Dom Smith, by the way, P16 on pure pace. I was quite shocked to see that, sixth in the standings, but not a great lap from him at all there. So he's going to have plenty of work ahead of him for this main race here. So he'll be one to keep an eye on, fighting through the pack here, because there's quite a few drivers that are quick at the top.
Well, we've got 5 red lights. It's Casper versus Machine Ireland. We're underway in Abu Dhabi. The grid slots on the left are all glitched, but it doesn't matter because Machine Ireland has not been able to make the move. But Jorvi Omani has down the inside of Court Gill for third on the early moments of the lap. Jean as well getting past Phil, but Phil's fighting back around the outside as the McLaren. The old timer not got enough in the tank to get past the race winner last time out. We'll see if anyone's late on the brakes to try and make the moves. It looks like Phil is. He's got both Williams there. Phil Bargewell up to 5th place. Jean is defending from his teammate now. Wet Lemons will see up front. Machine Ireland is right on the back now. VRT Casper, they're side by side coming into the chicane, and it should be late on the brakes for Machine Ireland, and it should be an easy move because Casper's going to have to give that one up. Machine Ireland on the hard tyres on the beginning of this Grand Prix. Casper on the mediums. Casper going to have to make them work as he can, if he possibly can. There's a car off in the background. If that wasn't lag, it looked like a Williams.
Oh.
I think.
There, yeah, we've got VSC. I mean, there was always... Oh, there is. There's Arthur in the barrier, and down the straight there, it looked like he was about to be in the walls, and that is now a full course safety car, and there's a penalty for Jake there as well for something, but it looked like it was all getting a bit ugly through that chicane, but it just kept on carrying on, and it didn't last long there, Jack, until we got this full course safety car.
Well, we mentioned the safety cars earlier on in the stream. It didn't take too long. I shouldn't have said anything. But then Machine Ireland did what he needed to do. He got ahead at the chicane. We'll see if anyone comes into the pits. I imagine it'll be too early for that. Yeah, Roy in the pits now. So we've seen in the past, in TGP1, people pit very early on when the safety car comes out, and it does allow them to get to the end of the Grand Prix. The tyre life won't be there, but the more the pit stops come, the more the field will get bunched up, and Roy on the hard tyres now doesn't need to stop again. Jean as well does the same, and maybe Machine Ireland obviously couldn't stop, he's on the hards, but Casper could have stopped there. Casper maybe not wanting to risk it, and then Alpine, changing his front wing. Has Casper missed a trick there? We'll see come the end of the Grand Prix. Court Gill on the mediums as well, Phil on the mediums. Looks like everyone is on the mediums in the top 10 bar Machine Island and Jake. And Jake picked up a penalty for overtaking, I believe, and picking up a place under the VSC, so that's disappointing for him. That will obviously not be able to be removed because it's going to cost him time in the pit stops when he does eventually stop. But yeah, we didn't see it on the stream, and we were watching the front battle, but a bit of argy-bargy action through the chicane, costing Arthur a chance at points again. That's 2 DNFs tonight for Arthur, disappointing for him.
Yeah, it looked like there was just too many cars trying to chuck it down the inside. You do kind of get that after that first long straight. People do get a little bit excited on the first lap and just think, I'm just going to let go of the brakes here and chuck it down the inside and see what happens. And unfortunately, there was too many cars trying to get through one corner there. And yes, it was a miracle that nobody found the barrier before that happened. But then I think a bit of lag just finished off Arthur for good. But I do think, Jack, you were saying there about, these guys pitting under safety car and the potential advantages they have from that. I think they've got a huge advantage from this because unless we have a VSC or another proper safety car later on, I think they'll be miles ahead because those hard tyres, they will go to the end easy. Absolutely easy. And I think actually the Sauber there of Darky's actually just hit the barrier on the safety car, so he'll have to come in the pits very shortly. But yeah, I think these guys, they're going to be praying that there's not another safety car later in this race because at the minute, with the amount of drivers that haven't pitted, they could be really in a great position to win this race.
Well, we've seen in the past, haven't we, these guys that stop on the beginning of the stints, lap 1, lap 2, when we get these safety cars, that when the safety car comes out later on in the race, they tend to box for softs, because that's what the front guys do. It's really now a risk for Machine Ireland, Casper, Court, Phil, these types of drivers. You get the track position, which is what everyone wants. Phil's got damage on that front end plate on the McLaren. But yeah, you get the track position, but then it becomes a game where how long do you leave it? Do you stay out with a safety car hoping it comes out? Machine Ireland can do that. He's on the hard tyres. He's going to go long. But the likes of Casper, Court, Phil, they can't do that on the mediums. The mediums have got a lifespan that will allow them to get to the end of the race. And obviously, Machine Ireland could go to the end of the race, but he does need to stop. But with no safety car coming out early, these guys are going to have to stop naturally in the Grand Prix. So they are going to lose a lot of time if there's not a safety car in kind of that lap 10 to 15 lap time period. And well, we'll see. These guys are in TTP1 for a reason. We're not going to second guess their strategies. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Jean and Jovi Armani have a great opportunity of picking up the win here. We're going to check the stop. So everyone outside the top 10 has stopped. We're going to get the safety car in this lap. So yeah, this is a great chance for the likes of Matt Tibos, Chris, Dom, Luca to pick up some great solid points here.
Yeah.
But as we get going again in the next few moments, it's all about them hard tyres Machine Ireland's got. How much temperature has he kept since the beginning of the Grand Prix? He made the move at the chicane. He's going to be a sitting duck come that chicane this time round. And I believe if Casper, unless he makes an outrageous mistake, should be able to fly back past here on lap number 4.
Yeah, Casper should be right on the money here in terms of trying to pick off that Red Bull. I will say, though, those hard tyres, just to finish that one off, they are 100% the best race tyre here. They're only a little bit slower than the mediums, but they will go all the way to the finish from here on in. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this one plays out as Machine Island then does get us back on the way. And that looks like a fairly solid restart there with a little bit of a gap to the Ferrari right behind.
Yep, he looks okay at the moment. Casper chasing down the Red Bull driver. We'll see how close he gets on the back straight, but it's not quite close enough to make a move into turn number 5 unless he goes very late on the brakes, which you don't imagine he'd do, so he's got plenty of time. Does the Ferrari driver now down the inside? He won't go because Machine Ireland is slow through turns number 5, and it just has to come off the circuit to get back underway, and it looks like Casper might sail past. No DRS to his advantage this lap. It's going to be a couple of laps before we get that again, and he's not got the pace down the back straight. Has anyone else? It looks like Wet Lemons does down the inside on Aidan Griffins. Aidan Griffins not going to be happy with that. Aidan holds on. Dan Morris is going to take a bit of the action, and it looks like Casper's got him past there. Machine Ireland, did he have a bad exit there on the hard
Yeah.
tyres? Because here comes Court Gill now. Not quite got the move there. But I think Machine Ireland, he must have had a bad exit there because he looked far enough ahead to have the move.
Yeah, it's that chicane. If you just get a little bit of rear slip coming out of that corner, you can really get out of shape, and that's what happened to Machine Island there. And Casper just breezing past him in the end. And like you're saying, Jack, he's probably just struggling a little bit just to get a bit of proper temperature into those hard tyres. He should be okay from here on in, but just that initial phase, really struggling to just get the traction and the power down just to hold off the Ferrari. But he's still going to be within DRS come those straights later on in the lap, so we'll see if he can recover himself here.
Viva La Merkel trying to make a move on Phil Barswell for fourth at the moment. Phil Barswell with the damage, holding on well. Aidan Griffin's trying to get his act back together after a bit of contact from Wet Lemons. Aidan just catching his bearings and getting back underway to try and close the gap to Viva La Merkel and take the pressure off his teammate a little bit. Lewis Craig passed and passed by Dan Morris on the previous lap. He's trying to defend from Jovial Manny. We'll see later on in the lap if he's able to do so. Here comes Machine Ireland, closing that gap on the Ferrari. Not quite got enough on this straight. We'll see. Does Casper have the same similar exit that Machine Ireland did in the previous lap? No, it doesn't look like it. No DRS this time around. Oh no, sorry, DRS enabled this time around. Sorry, and Machine Ireland now round the outside. It's going to be a hard move to make on a former champion, and Casper slams the door shut on that. Aidan Griffins was passed by Wet Lemons that time around. Lewis Craig was passed by Jovial Manny. He's the first of the guys to be munched up by the guys that have made a stop.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing, though. You just wait on that second straight to get the job done. I remember this when I won in TGP2 at this track last season, because you can get the job done into the first chicane there, but then you're going to come under attack with the car behind getting DRS back on you down the next straight. So Machine Island doing the right thing there, just being patient and then using the DRS down the second straight. And if he just gets a little bit closer this time around, he should be able to make the move fairly easy, because Casper's ERS is getting very low already.
Yeah, and he is in prime position to make that move. Casper with a better rubber at the time being. Viva La Merkel close to the back of Phil, close to making a move, not quite got enough speed in the back of that car, and Machine Ireland looks too far back to make a move. He looks like he's going to get past, because here comes Court Gill now in the Mercedes. He's third in the championship. If he wants a chance at winning this championship halfway distance going into next week, he needs to make the move and pick up the pieces and the points on these guys. Aidan Griffiths has been passed again, and it's Dan Morris this time getting past him. Aidan doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed to make these moves, or that contact may be damaging his side pods and costing him performance. We'll get comment from him after the Grand Prix, but he is closing the gap now on to Dan Morris in seventh. Not close enough to make a move though.
Yeah, this is all kind of staying quite close at the minute. They're cancelling each other a little bit out at the minute. There's been a few changes at the very back, but Machine Island there seems to struggle a little bit through these corners. I don't know if that's the setup that he's got on or what, but Court is all over him through some of these turns here in the final sector, but obviously you're not going to be able to find a way through at that part of the lap. But there is a little mistake there from Casper going on to the start-finish straight. They're getting a little bit out of shape at that final corner, and this time around the others might be that little bit closer and able to make the move here. They'll need to just get it set up nicely, but I think Casper could be in a bit of bother here.
Yeah, well, Court has got the most ERS out of all three in the top three, and Court may not have a race-winning pace at every circuit, but he seems to be quick everywhere. Casper's gone very deep, and the VSC is going to save him, because Casper went so deep on the exit there of that corner that Machine Ireland looked like he had a slam dunk, and I think he'll be very happy. And we've got another safety car there. Now surely the guys up front are going to have to stop. Machine Ireland obviously going to go into the mediums. Casper and company are definitely going to have to stop to get on those hard tyres. And this is what Jovial Manny and Jean and Luca, these guys are going to pick up the pieces. And Jovial Manny now is going to be leading the Grand Prix. Jean's going to be second. Luca and Dom are going to be third and fourth.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. If there was going to be a safety car again in this race, that works out quite nicely for them, because it was soon enough after the first one where actually now they will just gain outright track position, and these guys out front will have to pit for either the hard tyres, or if you're Machine Ireland, you're going to really struggle here, because you're going to have to go into mediums and try and get them all the way to the finish here. So it's going to be very interesting now, because you'd imagine they will all dive in the pit lane And we're going to have a new race leader here.
A new racer coming. I think the Machine Ireland should be able to get those mediums to the end. White Lemons picked up a time penalty for cutting the track on under the safety car. Disappointing for the Williams driver. The consistency we were talking about in the warm-up lobby not coming through to fruition. But yeah, it is Jovial Manti leading the way. Lewis Craig has stayed out. He might be finding it's not worth double stacking, which is the wrong decision if he's listening. Jeaner's in third for the time being, Mr. Giapelli in fourth, Dom in fifth, and then I think it is As You Were, Casper, Machine Ireland, Core, Phil, yeah, everyone post Dom Smith is As You Were. But Dom and Luca have a chance for solid points. Jean in prime position for another opportunity in the race win. Lewis Craig is still to stop, so he's going to be last when he comes out. But yeah, Jovial Manti boxed on lap 1 in first place. He knows when to strike Jovial Manti when the iron's hot. Jean, though, picked up his 45th Grand Prix victory in TGP1 tonight, so congratulations to him reaching that milestone. He'll be hoping to get to number 50 before the end of his career, and then with not many races to go in TGP1, and that kind of are we racing on F125? He's running out of races to reach that number 50, but it would be great to see the man that had the most podiums in a season pick that achievement up if he can in the second half of season 43.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's still a long way to go in this one. There's going to be that bit of tyre difference between some of the drivers there. And there's a couple of quick guys like Jovial Manti, Jonas, that are going to not be easy to pass for the likes of Casper and Cope. So it's going to be interesting. I think, like, with this track, it's not... I mean, it's easy to make overtakes, but it's... If everyone's got DRS on each other, it's not quite as easy to break the DRS. And that's part of the problem, is if you get in a bit of a squabble at the front, it's not going to be easy to just pull away from the pack and break that DRS and then cruise off into the distance. So it's going to be fascinating to see how some of those that were at the front before this most recent safety car, how they work their way through the field here. They should be able to get past the likes of Dom and Chiapelli right in front. And obviously Lewis Craig will need a pit at some point in this one as Chris Johnson comes in once again. But yes, I'm intrigued to see how much risk they apply in this one. The likes of Machine Island, obviously, Jack has got quite a lot at stake here, you'd have to say. I know we're still early in the season, but with Jovial Manti leading this one, he would not want to have this race finish where it is right now, because he'd lose a whole heap of points in the standings.
Well, 23 points is the gap just now. That would close up massively if it stays the way they are. We don't expect it to do so. This track, we usually talk, it's one thing to close, another to pass. This one's more you get past, and it's more trying to get away is the issue. So we'll see how that unfolds in the coming moments. We're half race distance at the end of this lap. And Lewis Craig, maybe thinking not stopping, he's maybe hoping for another safety car later on in the race. And maybe he's hoping that everyone pits for softs, and that would allow him naturally to just be in second if he holds on to second by the time that next safety car comes. Maybe Lewis just thinking, well, I'm not going to score solid points anyway, so we'll just leave it late and I hope everyone puts for softs, which has happened. It happened at Zandvoort, and was it last season or the season before, where everyone came in for softs at the end. So we'll see how that unfolds for the second Red Bull driver. But Jovial Manti now, he's the man out in front that's got to do the restart. He becomes the safety car, folks. Slows the pack right down, and he decides when to go. You cannot overtake until you cross the start-finish line. Everyone should know that by now. If you've not, then why are you watching? But Jovial Manti, can he do what Machine Ireland did and get that restart perfect, and just hope that Lewis Craig doesn't have the straight line speed in the back of that Red Bull to get past going into the chicane or the second straight? There's going to be no DRS to help Lewis this time, but Lewis Craig has won races in TGP2. He is a TGP2 champion. He knows how to challenge these guys up front as Roy gets underway again. We'll see. We're on board with the Red Bull. What kind of run has he got? He's actually lost the front ender, which might put him under pressure from Jean. We'll see what Jean can do. It's all as you were for the time being, but we'll see how close these guys get on the back straight, on the run up to the chicane, and Lewis Craig is closing that gap
Yeah.
very quickly before we even get there. He might be looking to make the move into turn 5 if he can get the move done there. No, he's just lifting off a wee bit as Lewis biding his time. I think Casper down the inside of his teammate spun. And I don't know why Casper's done that there. He went very, very late on the move there, but we're on front. We're on board with Lewis Craig to take the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix from Roy. He's going to be late down the inside if he can. No thinks better of it. He's going to try it down the back straight.
It's absolutely critical for Roy here that he keeps Lewis Craig behind. That is a disaster. If that Red Bull gets ahead come the end of this straight, then Roy's chance of winning this one might be in the bin already, because he needs to get a gap to the quicker cars behind. But there it is, Jonas trying to hang it around the outside on Lewis Craig. Can't quite get it done as Machine Island now is up into P4 provisionally, although the Ferrari manages to hold him off. Surprisingly, Chiapelli there keeping Machine Island behind, and he's now got caught right on his tail as well. But, wow, an ambitious move from Casper has proved to be a total disaster for him there. Now down in 16th, and all hope of even a podium is completely in the bin.
Yeah, just off my view, I caught it very late. It looked very risky and late from Casper there, but we'll get the onboards later on. And now comes Machina in turn number 1, trying to make a move on Luca, who defended beautifully on the end of that lap, and he's hanging on. Luca, Machine Ireland and Court made quick work of Dom Smith, but they're struggling with the Ferrari driver. But we're looking on board with the Red Bull, trying to make that move. The gap is so close, but Luca's defending as much as he can. Luca knows that he's got good pace in that Ferrari, and he wants some solid points, and we'll see what he can do. We'll come back to that Red Bull, because right now, for some reason, it's the other Red Bull looking to take the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix into the chicane. Lewis Craig leads from Jovial Manti, from Jean. Machine Ireland has finally gotten past Court and Mr. Giapelli there. Phil's past Dom as well, but Dom's coming back at him now. Can't Dom get the traction? No. Phil gets past. Lucas been passed by both those guys, and now Roy back ahead of Lewis Craig into P1 there. Lewis doing what you were talking about earlier on in the race. You get the move done in the chicane, you're vulnerable on the second straight, and that's exactly what Mr. Giapelli's done to Luca, because Luca has gone back past on the second straight there, and he's going to try and make a move late into the hotel section, and he's forced Luca way wide, because Luca thought Phil was going to be on the inside, and that was a bit of mind games and a bit of veteran tactics from Phil there on Luca Giapelli.
yeah, absolutely. I have to say, Phil there put the fear into Chiapelli and made him make that mistake. So good driving from Phil, although I just realised he's actually got damage on that car. So he's doing a good job to keep it going up into P6 now. But I do fear for the rest of his race if he can, he's probably going to struggle to remain in that position. But Joe Manatee then has got a bit of a gap this time, and it's now going to be Jonas and Machine Island there. Put the pressure on Lewis Craig, and he's going for the move. Before the straight there, Jonas getting the job done, and he'll have DRS down the straight, but he's not. He hasn't got it done and has to just tuck behind the Red Bull.
Well, Lewis Craig is doing a job and a half for his teammate, hanging on to Jean at the time being. And here comes Machina now. Lewis Craig moves out the way. So Sergio Perez doing what needed to be done for the team. And now Machina are going to try and get down the inside. What a move. This will be on Jean, the man that won last time at Court. Managed to sneak past Lewis as well there. And well, the gap now 8 times to Jovial Manti, who did manage to get away from Lewis. Lewis running out of battery. Their Machine Ireland back ahead of Jean now. And I tell you what, teamwork makes the dream work for Red Bull. Lewis has done a fantastic job to put Machine Ireland back ahead of Jean and get ahead and try and close that gap in his championship rival now. The points gap will swing to 7 points in this race and 9 on the night. But Machine Ireland now has got a great opportunity of winning this Grand Prix on the quicker rubber as well. How long will that rubber last though on the mediums?
Yeah, you have to say, what a clinical move that was from Machine Island. It was a little bit of contact involved, but he is a man on a mission at the minute. I mean, look at this. He's all over the tail of Joe Manatee, and on those quicker tyres, he is going for this. He wants to take the lead and get off into the distance and win this one. As Viva Lamerco has made a move on Lewis Craig. I think something's happened to Lewis Craig. Oh, he's almost out of shape there, almost sideways going on to that next straight, but all the way to the front, though, because Machine Island is right on the tail of Joe Manatee here.
And here he goes. should get past this time around. Maybe not into the chicane because he'll think better of it. Is he going to use the DRS?
Yeah.
Yes, he's not using the battery, so he'll sail past at the moment. It's all about defence now for Machine Ireland. How do I defend, get the best line out the chicane, and hang on to the lead of my Grand Prix at the time being and my championship? It looks pretty smooth from Machine Ireland, and that is absolutely beautiful from the Red Bull, and it should be absolutely safe from any move happening this lap. Court Gill is past Phil, and he's past Jean as well, round the outside court before we even get to the corner, and that is absolute clockwork from the Dutchman. Lewis Craig's falling down the order, he's got no battery, and his tyres are absolutely gone after that few laps, trying to get past Roy and defending from Jean. He done the work for his team, but now Lewis is going to have to come in sooner rather than later and get some fresh rubber on and get some feeling in that car again.
I tell you, caught there. Got a little bit too greedy on the curb and then a little slide going through that corner. Almost did a bit of a Latifi with a barrier right next to him. But I think Court, to be honest, might be the only driver that can stop Machine Ireland from winning this race. There's not too long to go, but Machine Ireland is absolutely romping off here on those medium tyres. But Court is finding the pace here, and if he can get the job done on Roy here very shortly, he might just be able to stay with Machine Ireland and give us an almighty scrap between those two for the win here.
Well, if he's going to have a chance at the win, Roy looking like he's losing that pace. He's obviously been on those tyres since lap number 1 when we got the safety car coming out, and Roy going to have to defend from Court on the second straight here. You can see the Christmas tree light blinking away. He's harvesting the battery on that Visa RB. We're on board with Jean. We're seeing the cars in front, and it looks like it should be an absolute slam dunk for Court here. He's closing that gap so much as the Mercedes driver. He's not going to be close enough though, because the closing distance from Roy to Machine Ireland was absolutely crazy there. They're still side by side. Viva La Miracle looks like he's finally going to get past Phil, but Phil is defending with everything he's got, and he's managing to hang on as Phil with the damage. Phil doing a fantastic job in the McLaren tonight to pick up some solid points. Luca Giapelli got back past Dan Morris as well for 7th, so Luca not fading away like Dom and Lewis did at that safety car restart.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, and he's going to have a whole gaggle of cars on his tail very shortly, but that's going to be a tasty little battle then for P7. But all eyes still at the front, though, because Giovanni is still hanging on to Machine Ireland's DRS here, but Court is so close this time around. He's going to have a look down the inside. No, thinks better of it, but this top 4, they are not going anywhere. Machine Ireland, just as I thought he was maybe going to get off into the distance, he is unable to break that DRS like we were saying, and they're going to go at it once again here.
Just so hard to break that DRS and slipstream. It's just so effective. You see it on board with Court, the RB ahead just closing the gap so much. And this time, Jean is right in on the action here as well. And I tell you what, anyone could overtake anyone here. The only one that seems to be defensive is Machine Ireland, but he's got enough straight line speed to hang on to first. It's as you were. Viva La Miracle finally passed Phil now. 2 seconds. 5 and a bit laps to go. Is Viva La Miracle a dark horse here with a bit of pace in that Alpine to close the gap and make this a 5-way battle? Aidan Griffiths and Dom Smith are side by side in the hotel section. The two frenemies battling away, and it looks like Aidan Griffiths, the Scotsman, has knocked the marksman out of the top 10, and Aidan up into 10th place, picking up 5 solid points for McLaren. Aidan Griffiths some good pace there now. Can he battle Matt Tibbles and Dan Morris?
You're right about Viva La Miracle. If these lots start scrapping out front, then that gap is still fairly close. 1.8 seconds. He could still bring himself and maybe Phil somehow into the mix here. But Court, again, is so close going into this corner, but thinks better of it. Doesn't want to make the move there. But the problem is for him, when they all have DRS down this straight, he's got absolutely no hope in getting ahead of that RB because they all got DRS on each other. But Giovanni is very close there, and I tell you, he might just take the lead.
Down the inside goes Mr. 00 Wings, and into the lead once more goes Giovanni. Machine Ireland has to settle for second. We'll see how good his run out. Oh, but this corner is on the chicane. He should get the DRS. A bit of the battery should allow him to sail back past. And Court now might make this free wide into the turn. And Roy had to yield there. And Court up into second. Now, can he challenge Machine Ireland for the lead of this race? And Court doing what he needed to do. He's up into second place now and trying to put himself back in this championship battle at half race distance in the championship in season 43. And yet again, we've got a four-way battle for another race win in TGP1. And start to finish, we never get any respite. And even under safety car conditions, it still spices up the Grand Prix. Lucas picked up a penalty, and with now 4 laps to go until classification, Court is in an absolutely great chance to win this race. And like you mentioned, under the second safety car, the hards, like Singapore, seem to be the tyre to be on. He's on the hards, and Machine Ireland is going to find this very difficult to defend with in the next few moments.
Yeah, Court is surely going to pass Machine Island here, but we still have a few laps to go here. Even if he does take the lead here, it might not be the best position to be in. But here comes Court then. It's going to be easy as you like. Down the inside on Machine Island then for the lead. But let's just see, can the Red Bull man come straight back at him down this next straight?
We've had lovely exits from this corner before, and he's got another one here. He's got the DRS enabled. The battery pack is in full swing. Machine Ireland should absolutely sail round the outside of Court Gill here, and he does. Phil is back past Viva La Merco as well in the background there, as they've dropped Luca Giapelli down in 7th to about 6.5 seconds. But yeah, the gap is 1/10 of a second still. This battle isn't ending anytime soon.
Yeah, because the end of the day, Giovanni and Jonas probably don't have the pace anymore on those old hard tyres. I mean, they're 15 laps old now, so they are going to be starting to struggle. So they've just got to hope that they can just pick off these two in the closing lap or so, because if they do go wheel to wheel or kind of get a little bit too aggressive with their overtaking, they'll be right there to pick up the pieces, because they are still hanging on to these two. And you can imagine Court here, again, look how much speed he carries through the corner there, and he should get the move done very easily down this next straight. But the question is, Jack, is he going to make the same mistake again, where he'll overtake him here and then Machine Island should come straight back past him?
Well, it's very Leclerc Verstappen-esque. Verstappen will make a move into turn 1. Leclerc will sail back past turn number 4, and it looks like it's going to be the same here. Court Gill takes the lead of the Grand Prix, and these guys need to be careful. Phil and Viva La Merco have caught these guys by a second on that last lap since the squabbling started. Court's had a bad exit from the chicane, and that should allow Machine Ireland an opportunity to retake the lead of the Grand Prix here in Abu Dhabi, as the lights are starting to dim, and we're starting to get towards closing time, because Court is going to still hang on round the outside. He forces the Red Bull and he hangs on for the time being. So Court has managed that. He's now got 2 more laps at the end of this lap to hang on for. Is that possible? Probably not. He's going to have to probably defend or make another overtake again in the next few laps. But lap 19, the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix coming, it's anyone's ball game. And Court, the man that didn't win a Grand Prix, what was it, 13 years or 10 games? He's trying to pick up another victory here. If he wants a chance at winning the championship, he's going to have to pick up race wins here. Off the circuit he goes there, and he's just going to have to try and keep it between the white lines, keep it on the island. Machine Ireland not carrying as much pace through that chicane in that corner. He's struggling for grip on those mediums come the end. Court has had another wee mistake there on the exit, and that is going to allow Machine Ireland to be very close to the back of him. He's not using the DRS, but the DRS should absolutely carry him along this back straight that's so long that it will set him up for the next straight. And Machine Ireland there with the yellow flags can't make the move because Casper's DNF'd. Maybe not going to be able to make the overtake in this next part of the track. The yellow flags have disappeared for him, so this might be the perfect opportunity for him on lap 19. We've only got a lap and a half to go, and I think those yellow flags there may have cost Jovial Manti down the inside though. He's broken very late, did Roy. It's not going to be enough to make the move though. That was very late on the brakes from Roy, wasn't it? Down the inside
He's gone for again!
On that corner where Phil tried to make that move, and look at now round the outside. Machine Ireland still there, trying to hang on, and there's no grip on the front end of that Red Bull. That would allow him to stay out there. It was like dancing on ice if you were Gemma Collins round the outside, and Machine Ireland just had no grip, and now he's in danger of Jean attacking him from behind. And now Court Gill 1.5 seconds ahead on the final lap. That late lunge from Roy might have just given Court an easy final lap to pick up the victory here.
Where did that come from? I mean, Roy there from absolutely nowhere, sending it down the inside and just caught Machine Island napping a little bit because he was just waiting, sitting in the DRS. And I tell you, Court better thank Giovinazzi after this race because he has just handed him the race victory here, surely. Look at that, 1.8 seconds now, and it's all about if Machine Island can get back ahead of the RB here.
Well, here he comes. He's going to try make a look down the inside. Not quite got enough speed there. And will he get the great run that he's been having so much? So not this time around. He might be in danger from Jean behind. No, he's going to be okay for the time being, but not close enough. It looks like to make the move on Roy. He's going to try go down the inside, but Roy trying to do a Schumacher Barrichello. They're making contact. They've got wing damage, and that might allow Jean down the inside to steal it from Holland, who's got no front wing. He's got half a front wing, does the Williams driver. He's trying to get past the Red Bull, but not quite got enough in the tank there. Vive la Miracle's right on the back of this pack, but we're going to have to go to Court Gill, who's coming round the double right-hander now to pick up the victory in Abu Dhabi here in season 43. Court Gill wins the Grand Prix. Jovial Mani going to be second place. Machine Ireland picks up third. Jean holds on to fourth from Viva la Miracle in fifth. Phil Bargell sixth, and Luca is going to drop to ninth, but it's seventh for Aiden. Luca drops to ninth. Dom Smith comes home in eighth. Chris Johnson solid points again in 10th. Matt Tibbles 11th. Wet Lemons in 12th. Jake picking up 2 points on debut. A good night for him for the standard of driving that you'd expect. Lewis Craig going to come home and pick up a point. Did the job for his teammate, but not pitting cost him the opportunity. And I believe it was Dal Morris that finished out the finishers in 15th. But yeah, what an end to the Grand Prix that was. Roy, been watching a bit of the Royal Rumble recently. He kind of radioed his way out of nowhere into second place at the end. There was a bit of argy-bargy on the final lap, but it was Court Gill, the man that started the night of third in the Drivers' Championship, putting maximum points on the board for Mercedes and his hopes. Court now may have just put himself back on the map for this championship battle. And with the top three tonight, all on the podium tonight in reverse order, there's a great opportunity that this battle could go the distance. It could last us 20 races. We didn't kind of have that with Softy or Casper in the last few seasons, or the Confessor. But we're kind of brewing for a great championship battle, aren't we, between these three men on the podium, 2 Irishmen and a Dutchman. We've got a fantastic second half of the season to come.
Yeah, I think if you needed any more reason to watch the remainder of the season, it was a race like that, because that was an absolute thriller. I mean, we didn't quite get the last lap showdown for the win, but Giovinazzi, I was really surprised on those old hard tyres, was able to just get punchy there with the move, and what a great overtake that was. But chapeau to Court, though, what a victory that was. The result he needed, you have to say, Jack.
Absolutely, indeed. He needed that result for his championship and to try and get back on course to winning ways. And that is your final order in Abu Dhabi. I don't know why it's not letting me see it, but that is the final order. We went through it anyway, so not too much. We've had plenty of action. We've had plenty of great results. We've had debuts from Jake picking up good points. Luca having a great result as well. With the Hungaroring and Spain coming up next week, we've got plenty more action to come your way. We've got another 10 races this season. They seem to absolutely fly by. I'm absolutely gutted I've only been in the box 3 of the 5 weeks, but hopefully be able to be here for the whole second half of the season and see this championship battle through. And well, will we get a new champion in the final season of TGP1, or will we see someone similar picking up the championship? It's been me, myself, Jack Craig. He's been CJH, and we're going to say goodbye for now. And we'll see you at the Hungaroring next week, and we'll see you on PS4.